No, I'm not going to sing for you. Um, actually, there we go. Well, hello. Um, I wanted to come on, and those of you who follow our channel, you already know a little bit about who we are. We live here in the Philippines. We recently just celebrated our fourth anniversary here. We moved here in 2017, and as of now, 2021, just a little over 4 years by a few days. But with all of this pandemic stuff, and this video is not about the pandemic, but with all of the pandemic stuff, and I have been through some experiences personally. Back in 2020, I was actually stranded for 3 months. That's a whole other story that I've never shared really outside of the family, but I've been through it. I've had some experiences, and now we have, we're 18, 19, 20 months into this deal. And, I'm the eternal optimist. I'm the guy that's always saying that it's going to get better. But it's, continuing to drag on. Even here in our local province, our local city, um, the positive numbers are still, you know, uh, for a population of 110,000, 115,000 people, we're still averaging about 100, give or take, positive cases. Um, a few months ago, it had gotten down to the single digits. It had gotten down as low as five. I remember that, and then it with the Delta variant, it picked up, and so for the last month or so, I would say it's been averaging about 100 plus, just under, back above, and so with that, we're still, like the rest of the world, still dealing with the face masks and face shields and all of the restrictions. Um, you know, it seems like even though our province is actually fairly large, and there is a lot to see, with life, with the kids in school and things like that, we don't just necessarily get out and travel. There are a couple of trips that we need to make, um, but those are outside of the province. And as of right now, at least the last I've looked, the requirements to go and come back are essentially some paperwork. You have to go to a couple of agencies, get your paperwork. You have to get the swab, the what is it, the PC, the RT PCR swab test or whatever, and that has to be within 48 hours and things like that. Um, One of the trips we need to make is to Manila uh, to register our youngest daughter with the U.S. Embassy. Anyway, try not to get too deep into detail here. This is my feeling with putting out this little video is really to ask ask you, what are your thoughts? This vaccine was created and put out to the public so quickly, and while we want to trust science, and I'm not against vaccines. I'm not against antibiotics. There are people that are extreme and they don't like those things. It's not me. It's not us. We're all of our kids are fully vaccinated. Um, but with this COVID vaccination being thrown together so quickly, and you got to wonder, politically, whichever one was it, Johnson that was approved by the FDA. I mean, was there political, coercion, to the FDA to approve it? Again, and I'm also not a conspiracy theorist, but the question I have today we had, which actually is where all of this thought process kind of comes to a head this evening, is we heard today that the local open market, the fish, the meat, the produce market, the employees are being required now to get the vaccine. And one of my wife's sisters has a produce stand in the market, and she was saying that what she's hearing is that the to even enter the market, as well as our local shopping. We have some small shopping malls here, um, but that they will actually require you to have the vaccination, the card. And as I said, I want to be clear on this. I'm not one of those extreme guys that is like, no way, I'm not doing it. But at the same time, I'm reluctant to subject myself and my family and my children to a vaccine that was put together so quickly, has not had long term, testing done to see what any long term effects may or may not be. I'm just reluctant to dive into that. Uh, especially if we're not traveling that much, if we're not, you know, uh, getting on buses and airplanes and ships, on a daily or weekly basis. I mean, we haven't been out of the province for 6 months, 7 or 8 months, and actually that trip, that was me, myself, and I. There was at that moment there was no paperwork required. I made a quick business trip to Iloilo and returned within the same day with no problem. But since then, all of this extra paperwork, the swab test, all of that's required. And by the way, that's not cheap. You got to pay for the swab test. Um, anyway, so as long as we're staying close to home, as long as we're not needing to travel, and by the way, if we want to go to the beach resort or go to the swimming pool resort, or if we want to do that within the province, it's no problem. Just go. So that being said, what do I need to subject ourselves to the vaccine? Well, if we have to go to the grocery store, I mean, if we have to get the vaccine to go to the grocery store, now it's becoming a different conversation. Now it's like, okay. And so, I realize now, by now, that the vaccines have been, being used now for about a year. I think as of November, it will be a year since the first vaccines were given, and chances are it's just fine. I keep repeating myself. I'm not an extremist. I'm not a guy that's headlong against it. I just want to use some common sense and some practical sense when it comes to taking care of my family. I'm protecting my children. So that's about the gist of this video. I just really want to kind of put that out there, and I'm anxious to get your response in the comments. What do you think? Do you think I should just go ahead and us get our vaccine? I mean, should we hold off until it's just absolutely necessary? When I talked about shopping for groceries, we can have people go get our groceries. We don't have to go to the store ourselves. Although, as they say, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. But anyway, but no, I'm just interested in hearing what your opinion might be. I know that I'm going to get a lot of people that say just get the vaccine. But I'm really interested in those of you who might even feel sort of the same way that I do. You know, should we get the vaccine? Should we hold out? Um, I haven't even mentioned the dynamic of me being a foreigner. Uh, I did do a quick look on YouTube before I opened up the camera here, and I didn't find any Americans or any other foreigners that had produced a video, commentating on their opinion about the vaccine or not. The only one that I did find, he said that he got his done at the American office in Manila, and I'm not sure if that was the U.S. Embassy or what that was. I'm curious about that. But again, I'm nowhere near Manila. It would be an airplane. It would be a flight or a lengthy ferry. About a 20-hour ferry trip to Manila. So again, not trying to be negative. I'm happy to comply with whatever restrictions, but as long as I have a choice, and I'm not even really getting into the political idea about this sort of breaching our freedoms. My opinion of freedom is, freedom has its limitations also. Freedom comes down to choice. If we always have a freedom, even if it comes to laws, you make a choice. You comply with law. Within our freedom, we can comply with the law, and we can pay our taxes and do the right thing, or we can break the law within our freedom, within our right to choose, and suffer the consequences. So, I'm not even really talking about this whole, forcing it upon us, in our freedom. I'm just talking about the pros and cons, the practical sense of it. Um, am I being unnecessarily reluctant? What are your thoughts? Um, I hope you stuck in with me on this. And please, I really would appreciate your comments. So, with that, I'm going to wrap it up. Otherwise, I'm just repeating myself again. All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you taking time to watch this video.